Pleasant good morning, Virgin Islands, and happy Paradise Tuesday and New Year to all. And this beautiful last Tuesday of the year 2025. Today is Tuesday, December 30th,
Yes.
2025. Once again, it's my pleasure to be here. This is yours truly, Verdell Peterson. I'm the host of At the Table with Crucian Educator, a 1 hour radio talk show on the number one radio station in the Caribbean, WSTX 970 AM on your dial you're listening to. It's also streamed on Facebook. And if you're away, of course, you could get this show on TuneIn. It's a talk show, so you're welcome to participate by calling in. The numbers are 340-773-0490 and 340-773-0390. And this last Tuesday, I'm so excited because right now we are having a great time here in Santa Cruz. It's the Crucian Christmas Festival. It used to be called Carnival. Well, what's the difference? It's a moment now for us to celebrate our history and culture, a moment for us to fellowship, to come together and rejoice another year and look forward to a new year. And my wish is next year, which will be starting on Thursday, January 1st is Thursday. All year night is Wednesday night. And I am looking forward to a even more productive, prosperous, but peaceful 2026. And we have a lot to be grateful for. It's not always happy moments because we do have transitions. We have people that pass away this year, cherished ones, loved ones, and we have to pay tribute to them, honor their memories, and at the same time, be grateful for every precious moment of life that we have. We all here on a lease. So let me run through the activities so far for the Crucian Christmas Festival. And this year theme is Timeless Traditions in Every Mix. Last night was Cultural Night, Monday, the 29th of December. The honoree for this year was the world famous Express Band. Also, there was tribute paid to Edgy, who played in the 10 Sleepless Night Band. And it was a wonderful evening. But let me give you a schedule for what happened from the beginning. The first night of the village was Thursday, December 25th. And there was the synchro classes of the 80s incorporation there. And the Friday, December 26th, it was the Princess Pageant. And also there was the Mumby Juve that was back. So we had the Mumby Juve this year. I try to attend as many events as possible, can be to everyone. But in this digital era, we can participate virtually, so you can look at the recorded videos. I'd like to invite you, if you're not already a member of Virgin Islands Affairs Forum. That is my Facebook group. This gives you the opportunity to immerse yourself virtually into the historical, political, educational, cultural, and social affairs of the Virgin Islands of the United States, which is the official title. Most of us just say the VI or US Virgin Island or SVI. It's all the same. It's an unincorporated territory made up of 4 main islands. St. Croix is the largest, 84 square miles approximately, then St. Thomas at 32 square miles, and St. John at 17 square miles. And last but not least, we have Water Island, the smallest of the 4 main islands that make up the US Virgin Islands. And this moment, December, we are celebrating our culture and paying tribute to all those that contribute to our rich history, particularly the history of Santa Cruz, St. Croix. So this is Crucian Christmas Festival. The Saturday, there was the Calypso Monarch that was held at Island Center. The winner was Richie. As I say, to see all of this, there are many sites that you could go to, Facebook pages, and you can review and get yourself immersed virtually into our affairs, our cultural and social affairs and events taking place this festival season here in Santa Cruz. Sunday, there was the Miss St. Croix, and then last night, Monday, it was cultural night. The Express Band, the international band, was honored. The governor spoke, the lieutenant governor spoke, the vice president of the legislature. And if you wish to see all that, again, you can go to join my Facebook group, Virgin Islands Affairs Forum. I have it recorded. So Virgin Islands are where you can enjoy, and you could be here spiritually with us as we celebrate our rich history, culture, and heritage. Tonight, what we have, this is Tuesday night. This is December 30th. It's Soca Monarch, and the village opens at 7 p.m. and goes until 1. So I'm inviting everybody to come on out. Join me physically, virtually, or spiritually. Just have fun, but be safe. I'd like to reiterate the message that from the police department, from the Virgin Islands Tourism Department, from Miss St. Croix, be safe. Do not overindulge. Do not get intoxicated and drive. Practice moderation. Too much of anything is bad for you. So I know people around this time want to enjoy the spirits and the rum, but be cautious and think of others, think of yourself, the safety of everyone. Do not drink and drive. Party. You can party, have a good time, but be safe, because the village was shut down last night. And we don't want that to happen again. We want to have this as safe as possible. So everybody, just spread the word. You want to arrive home alive? Be careful. Be cautious. Pay attention to your surroundings. Avoid conflict, confrontation. It's always best to walk away. Walk away and live to see another day. That's my motto. Rather than escalating a confrontation, de-escalate. There is a way matters can be resolved without resorting to violence. Again, be cautious. Also, do your part as a civic-minded individual. If you are aware of crime taking place or to help prevent criminal activity, you should contact the police. In an emergency situation, you dial 911. The police cannot be everywhere, and they need your assistance. This is a community effort to keep our community safe. All of us have to be involved. We have to all be in it. And this one, it's one Virgin Islands, one community. Let's be more loving and more respectful of each other. So tonight, again, is a soca night. And I'm looking forward to it. Wednesday is the Juve. Again, if you're not maintaining order, we don't want no drunken, disorderly behavior. Possibility the Juve could be canceled. So please, I'm encouraging everybody, do your part in making this Crucian Christmas festival as safe as possible. And of course, by law, the first Friday in January is designated as the Children's Parade, and the first Saturday, the Adults Parade. And the parades take place, as you know, on King Street. But there's some thoughts about maybe a change in the route, possibilities. So I'd like to hear in general your ideas. I have 3 questions. I'm expecting a guest. However, these questions are for anybody that wishes to participate. And the first question is, I believe all of us, first let me say, I think all of us have a purpose, and all of us have called ourselves Virgin Islander. Is it a resident? My definition, a legal resident of the U.S. Virgin Islands is a Virgin Islander. If you're born in the U.S. Virgin Islands, you're a native Virgin Islander. But whether you're born here or elsewhere, if you choose to make the U.S. Virgin Islands your home, you're a Virgin Islander, and all the laws are applicable to everyone, and everyone should be treated equally under the law. Discrimination should not be tolerated here in our territory. So my question is this: as a Virgin Islander, what are you doing to enhance fellowship amongst Virgin Islanders and promote appreciation for our rich history, vibrant culture, and intriguing heritage? So that's an open question. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, a view, an idea, a thought, a theory, a belief, a dream, an imagination, a fantasy. and even on delusion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. So these questions are very subjective, and I appreciate anyone who wishes to participate in answering any of the questions. So again, one, as a Virgin Islander, what are you doing to enhance fellowship amongst Virgin Islanders and promote appreciation for history, culture, and heritage of the U.S. Virgin Islands? I believe we all play a role. Everybody cannot be the governor. Everybody cannot be a senator. Of course, if you're eligible, no one can stop you. If you're eligible, you need to run. As long as you are eligible voter, you meet the age requirement, you meet the residency requirement, you can run for any public office in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We don't tolerate discrimination. You don't have to be born in the U.S. Virgin Islands to seek a public office, an elected public office. So this show is not political. My focus more is on the process. I usually avoid 5 topics. 1, political ideologies, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, ICM, you're entitled to your views, they're yours. However, I'm more about the process, our political rights, our civil rights, civic rights, constitutional rights, human rights. So I promote that in this show. I also avoid religion, mythology, conspiracy theories, and sports. Not that those are bad things, it's just that there are many talk shows and each has an area, particular area that they like to get involved in. I prefer to stick to these topics such as civics, constitutional development, political status, self-determination, history, culture, and heritage of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So my question, number 1, it's an open question. We all have a role to play. If you are a legal resident of this island, I urge you to become more civic-minded and participate in as many activities. So what do you consider your role to be? And how are you promoting our rich culture and history and heritage? How do you show appreciation for being a Virgin Islander? And essentially, what are you doing to make the Virgin Islands of the United States a better place? Because if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We all collectively could make this a better territory. So that's question number 1. Question number 2. I have an idea, proposal. I'm calling it the Shanti Project. And I'm hoping my guests could be here because I want to really elaborate with my guests, but perhaps The guests may not come in today. Well, let's see what happens. The Shanti Project. This is a proposal I have to create a Shanti map and to have a listing and the location designated for every Shanti and each respective island, St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. And each Shanti should be named in honor of a native Virgin Islander. Shantis and St. Croix should be named after Crucians. What is a Crucian? A native of St. Croix is a Crucian. Shantis and St. Thomas should be named after St. Thomian. A St. Thomian is a native of St. Thomas. A person born at St. Thomas is a St. Thomian. St. Jonian, they also have Shantis. I've seen them. It's the smallest of the three main ones I mentioned at 17 square miles. But they have Shantis. I don't know how many for each island, but the Shantis and St. John should be named after St. Jonians. Those are native of St. John. I do not promote discrimination. We cannot legally discriminate. All persons who are legal residents of the U.S. Virgin Islands must be treated equally under the law. However, I believe we need to honor our native Virgin Islanders who have contributed and continue to contribute to the betterment of our territory. And of course, we have others who play a major role in making the Virgin Islands a better place. So we have Virgin Islanders who are not natives, nonetheless, they're Virgin Islanders. They're here, they're residents, they're legal residents, and our residents should be equal under the law. So I'm going to get to a constitution. That would be question number 3. But question number 2, what are your thoughts? This is a Shanti project. Every Shanti in the island, the U.S. Virgin Islands, should be named in honor of a native. And should be redesigned. They have the basic structures there, but they can be redesigned. They can be enhanced. I'll admit, I would like a Shanti name after me, because I could see what I would do with my Shanti. I would have flowers around my Shanti. I would want my Shanti to be in bright, beautiful colors. The Shantis that I see, they all have the same color and the same basic design. But I want us to make each one unique, just like each of the island of the U.S. Virgin Islands is unique, a unique gem. I call these islands the American Caribbean gems. They are beauty, natural beauties. And each has something to offer that is unique that the other islands don't have to offer. Overall, all the islands are precious gems. All 4 main islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and Water Island. And the numerous keys, more than 50 keys, make up the U.S. Virgin Islands and islets, keys and islets. So I want to promote our history. And one way we can do that is for each Shanti to have a display of the official music, a symbol, the official music, the official bird, the official flower, and the official dish. So that way we can promote our history and culture, at the same time pay tribute to Native Virgin Islanders that are contributing to the history, our rich history. The history never ends, because what happens today, tomorrow becomes history. What is history? It's an account of the past, but too often we are just passing the history orally, but we need to have the history written, must be in text, must be documented, because memories become faded, and eventually some of that history is lost unless it's documented. So we need to have that history well documented. And I believe one way that history can be documented and our culture promoted is each Shanti would be a chapter in history, because that Native Virgin Islander, you don't have to have a whole big dissertation, but there should be a biography at the Shanti that can be read, telling you about who the Shanti is named after. That will give you that historical background of the person, and will be there in perpetuity, I hope. The Shanti will be there forever. I believe it could be an opportunity for the young and the not so young to all get involved. Make this one big community project. The youth can adopt a Shanti that they can maintain. The students can get community points to maintain their Shanti, keep it clean, litter free, repainted, so on and so forth. Upgraded, redesigned. I get points for that. Everyone could be part of this community project. I believe that could bring us together as one community, one society, the BI society, to make our islands a better place. So my question is, what's your thoughts? And you have anything you want to add to that? What is your thought about this Shanti project? You're welcome to call in. And if you know, if you can tell me what, if you could, I don't have a reward to offer. Unfortunately, this is just something I'm thinking now. And ad libbing, so I'm just coming up with these ideas because these thoughts are just flowing through my head. But I would like to recognize and maybe give some type of reward to the first person that called in and could correctly tell us the official music for the U.S. Virgin Islands, the official dish, the official bird, and the official flower. If you could give me the answer to those four. Again, the music, official music of the U.S. Virgin Islands, the official flower, the official bird, and the official dish. Okay, so that's question number 2, and that's the Shanti Project. Question number 3. As you know, if you've been paying attention and listening to this talk show at the table with Crucian Educator, I have been promoting constitutional development and trying to encourage more participation in this process of us getting a constitution. I would like to know what language pertaining to cultural affairs, to history and cultural affairs. And there is a committee, a standing committee. There's several standing committees and for the 6th Constitutional Convention, and I know one pertains to culture. I don't recall the precise name of the committee, but I know it involves culture. And I would like you to tell me what provisions or what language you would like to see in that section of our Constitution. There is a 5th draft of our Constitution, but that draft is not a legal document. It's only a draft that was never approved by Congress. So far, there have been 5 attempts for us to get a constitution. And I am not going to say they were failures. There were lessons and lessons of lessons. We can learn from our mistakes of the past. There's always room for improvement. You should become a better person each day, better than yesterday. So we can reflect back on the 5 drafts that we have had so far. So there have been 5 constitutional conventions, and we still have not yet had the opportunity, the VI electorate, to ratify a constitution for the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we're working on the 6th draft right now. My question is pertaining to history and culture. What language would you like to see in that article of our draft? Because right now, it's a working document. A constitution is not legal until it is ratified by the electorate of the respective territory or state. All 50 states of the United States have its own constitution. The United States have possession of 5 territories. They are unincorporated territories. Why they are called unincorporated? Because they are not a state. The 50 states are incorporated. Some of them started as the original, 13 of them original states. So this nation known as America did not come into existence until 1776. That's when America was born. 1776. It was a revolutionary war. There used to be 13 colonies. It was a revolutionary war. The British subjects of these colonies decided they want to break away free from Great Britain. And there was a revolutionary war, a fight between the men of the colonies and the British. The colonies won. The rest is history, like they say. They won the Revolutionary War in 1776. So next year, 2026, we'll be celebrating America's 250th birthday. And hopefully I will be part of this celebration because, as I mentioned, this is an unincorporated U.S. territory. So the three unincorporated U.S. territories that have a constitution are the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and American Samoa. Those three have constitutions, but like us, they're unincorporated territories. They're not states, they're territories. We don't elect our own president, even though Trump thought the former governor Kenneth Mack was president of the United States. That's unfortunate that the president of the United States at that time didn't realize that the U.S. Virgin Islands is an unincorporated territory and we don't elect president. We don't have a president. We elect governors. So President Donald Trump at the time thought former Governor Mack was president of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we definitely need to promote our history, not just for our people, not just for Virgin Islanders, but for other Americans residing in the States, and especially the current president, Donald Trump, should be enlightened about our status. Well, he will be, because whatever constitution is developed and sent, there's a process. Whatever draft, because it's not an official constitution or legal document, as I said, until it is ratified by the Virgin Islands electorate. The two unincorporated territories, you should guess by now, that do not have their own constitutions are Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands. These two are governed by what is known as the Revised Organic Act of 1954. That's what's governing us now. But the supreme law of the land is the U.S. Constitution. So whatever constitution that is created for the U.S. Virgin Islands cannot supersede the U.S. Constitution. So you cannot put in there discriminatory language. You cannot put in there that Virgin Islands who are natives are exempted from paying property taxes, or you must be a native to be a governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Those are discriminatory language, and they would be unconstitutional because they will be violating the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So we can't have that. But we can have certain privileges as natives, as I mentioned. We can have structures named in our honor. There's no law against that. I do have mixed feelings, however, of renaming something that's already named. How you feel about that? If a building is already named, should that person name be removed and be replaced with a native? It's not illegal. It's not unlawful. It's not discriminatory, but it is controversial because in my opinion, you sending a message that you want to erase one aspect of history. I see it as a dishonor. If the person was already honored, removing somebody's name is an act of disgrace, in my opinion. But as I said, we are entitled to an opinion. For example, Alexander Hamilton Airport, well, used to exist. It's no longer called. Structures there. The airport on St. Croix is Henry Wilson Airport, a Crucian. And I believe, as I said, with the Shanti Project, yes, structure should be named after Crucians. But if it's already named, is it a disgrace to remove the name and replace the name? So now the airport is Henry Wilson Airport. And I cherish his contribution to Virgin Islands history. But Alexander Hamilton also made contribution to Virgin Islands history. Do you know that Alexander Hamilton once lived here at St. Croix? And his mother is actually buried at St. Croix. Who is Alexander Hamilton? He was born in Nevis. He's one of the founding fathers of America and the first appointed Secretary of Treasury. And he's on your $10 bill. Look at your $10 bill, take it out. That's Alexander Hamilton. Well, he once lived here at St. Croix. So he has made contribution to Virgin Islands history. Should anything be named after Alexander Hamilton now that his name has been removed from the airport? Well, I don't think it's going to go away. He's going to always be on the $10 bill, I believe. But should this be something else? Or should henceforth everything named should be in honor of a native? What's your thought? I said about the Shanti Project, I said straight up native only for the Shanti Project. But should that extend to everything we name? Must it be after a native Virgin Islander? What are your thoughts on that? Well, I proposed the Shanti Project. I guess I will be doing this solo because I don't think my guest is coming in today. But it's been a pleasure. And again, if you don't want to call in this time, you can always give your input on the WSTX Facebook page. You can put your comments. You can also put it on my Facebook page. I'm encouraging you, if you are not a member of the Facebook group entitled Virgin Islands Affairs Forum, you're welcome to join. I have 2 questions that I ask. Try not to overlook that. Should all Americans be treated equally, and why? We are Americans. Persons born in the U.S. Virgin Islands are natural born U.S. citizens. We are Americans. We cannot vote for the president while residing in the Virgin Islands. However, if we move to the States, we can vote. So it's an issue of location and status. The U.S. Virgin Islands is an unincorporated territory. However, we can acquire our own constitution. Anyone interested in coming and being a guest on my show, from henceforth, the year 2026, I am devoting to constitutional development. I want to hear your thoughts of how we can make this a success, finally, for us to get our own constitution. If not now, when? Never worry. A decade from now? Do you know how long it took to draft the U.S. Constitution? Approximately 4 months. Starting sometime in May of 1887 and ending September 17, 1887, approximately 4 months to draft the U.S. Constitution. We have had 5 attempts. Should get better each time. Practice may not make perfection. May not make perfection, because I don't think we'll never get perfection. But we can strive for it. What you can get is proficiency. You get better the more you practice something. Like a musician, an artist, the more they play, the better they become. So, but I don't want it to be 66 times. I think six is good. Let's make it, this is it. Let's make it the final constitution. And do your part. All of us do our part. Get involved in the process. And how we could be a model to the rest of the world. We could have a constitution that promotes diversity, unity, respect of human rights. We are human beings. Nobody chooses what color to be born, what gender, or what sex. Yeah, you could choose your gender, but you can't choose your sex. And sometimes it's not clearly defined either, but your sex is either you're a male or female at birth. And occasionally, a big question mark. Did you hear about the gorilla that was in the zoo that they thought was a male? And when they were surprised, the male gorilla gave birth. Because sometimes the sex is not easily recognized. But yes, you can choose your gender, but you can't. We have a call. Let me take this one. Pleasant good morning.
Pleasant good morning. Happy holidays to you and the listening audience.
Thank you. Same. Likewise.
You're talking about the Constitution. A point of order. How many people have $1 million, and we haven't seen no progress in that.
Who told you he has $1 million? Where you got that information?
$500,000. The governor gave me $500,000.
The governor, you said?
Yes, governor did. To do the thing with the Constitution. If you encase anything, you should look that up.
Well,
because he has that money, and up to now we haven't seen nothing. Nothing inviting the people to doing something or giving the inputs. He should be added too to see where all that money gone to. That's $500,000 he got.
Okay. And that's
that's
your thoughts.
you're talking in the air about righteousness. You should put the people them who is in charge of this constitution, because you're not hearing their mouth as loud as we hearing your mouth with good things.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying, young lady?
I understand your feelings, and however, I think your facts need to be verified. First of all, there was a grant proposal. The Interior Department did pay approximately $500,000, and there was a second half to the grant that was not approved. But the first half of the grant was approved, and it was used. We promoted constitutional development. We promoted having a referendum where the people could be involved, because I believe in democracy. The people had an opportunity to come out on November 3rd, 2020, when there was a referendum, whether they want a sixth constitutional convention to be established to adopt the revised Organic Act of 1954 or parts of it. So the people had a say in that matter. The result was overwhelming in favor of the sixth constitutional convention being adopted to the sixth constitutional convention being established to adopt the revised Organic Act. The law was passed that gave an option to use portions of the Organic Act, portions of the fifth draft, and other drafts. And so the sixth constitutional convention is working on that. The people have an opportunity to give their thoughts. Yes, I know the silence has been deafening, but you can speak up, you can give your thoughts, but I want to correct you on that.
That's my thought, because I'm a resident of St. Thomas. Malik Sekut, a resident of St. Thomas.
Yes.
We haven't heard anything about him, and we don't have in some radio station praising his name. But to the public that he needs to educate, he is not reaching out to us.
He completed his role. He's a professor at the University of the Virgin Islands.
I understand. So then if he have a job over there, and then they put you ahead of the Constitution of the Virgin Islands, then if you go handle it, you should have stepped off.
That wasn't his job. He's not head of the Constitution. He was not elected as a delegate.
They put that money in his hand. They didn't put it under the VI Constitution awareness or anything. They put it under he. And that is my point, that from the time he got that money, here's something that is being publicized. We had carnival, we had all these kind of things where this should have been out in the public. Just like how it's in St. Croix, it should have been over there promoting the Constitution too when they have festivities.
Well, I still continue. I was hired as a facilitator for that grant.
And how that is going for you?
Well, as I said, the second one wasn't approved. The first half was used, and the documents are there. Anybody can go to the Interior Department. The record is public.
Because not even he put that information out.
The record is public.
Well,
none of us going to jail. We didn't take no money. Yeah, I agree. Maybe we need to have more on it. I will agree with you on that. I think the public needs to be informed more.
You know, and then you're calling this Department of Interior. That Department of Interior is a joke, because all the propaganda that will be going on in the Virgin Islands, they never step into it.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts on this matter.
Young lady, enjoy your festivity. Happy New Year. Prosperity. Like I said, things going the wrong way, not the right way. Have a pleasant day.
Have a blessed year. Happy New Year. Okay, so we'll wrap up now. Thank you for listening on. And hopefully we'll be back once again in 2026. And this show at the table with Crucian Educator on Tuesdays, 8 to 9, and WSTX 970 AM. Live, listen, learn, love, and levitate.